Alright, welcome back y'all. This is going to be another video on Crash Bandicoot, except this time we're going to be settling this old age debuckle. Which one is better? Crash of the Titans or Mind Over Mutant? Now they both have their qualities of course, but which one would be more fun to play? Which one would suit someone's playstyle? So we're going to be starting with Crash of the Titans. I'm going to go over a brief summary of the two games and we're going to start with Titans. The game begins with Crash and the gang just chilling out and Coco trying to build this butter recycling machine to make infinite amounts of butter, until Neocortex rolls up out of nowhere and captures Coco and Aku Aku. Thankfully, Crash has got one hell of an arm on him and throws the butter recycling machine onto Aku Aku's cage and thankfully frees him. He then goes on a journey to go and find his friend. Now, after you come across Aku Aku and free him, you start coming across these Titans. And the first one you come across is called Spike. And essentially these Titans act as soldiers for Neocortex. And they're based off of this mystical power called Mojo. That's right, Wumper Fruit isn't a thing anymore. Well, I mean, it is, but it's only used as a healable, which kind of fucking sucks. But essentially, Mojo is the life essence of all of the beings within this world, and you collect it, and when you collect a certain amount, you start leveling up, gaining new moves, getting more health, that sort of stuff. Once you go through multiple levels, you reach this temple where you finally face off against Neocortex, and essentially once you defeat him using the Yuctopus Titan, weird freaky tentacle looking thing, he essentially boasts himself and says, "Oh, you'll never find my base," and he flies off with his bloody jet boots or whatever, and you essentially travel from there on forward. You find Tiny, you fight him in a not so great boss battle, and he essentially tells you that Dr. Engine might know the whereabouts of Coco, and also tells you that Dr. Nina has now taken control of Cortex's plans because he failed to kill it the first time. Uka Uka got too upset and told Nina to take over the mission. After this, Aku Aku teleports you over to Engine's lab. Why he doesn't teleport you just in front of Engine will always blow my mind, but essentially you go to him, he tells you to go find Uka Uka, you go to where Uka Uka is, where he's up in the family tree, and essentially this all leads to you going to the Doominator, which is all part of Cortex's plan. So he was building this giant machine to, take over the Wumpa Islands, of course. But when Nina took control, all the plans went to her. Once you're up in the Doominator, you fight Nina, you take over her Titan, the Doominator falls to the ground, it gets destroyed, Crash speaks for the first time, well not the first time, but you know what I mean, and well, everyone's happy. Now one thing I completely forgot to mention was that this game's gameplay is completely different from any other Crash game before it. You see, the thing with this game is that it's a beat 'em up, kind of like Street Fighter or something like that. You essentially beat up all these characters, you don't spin, well you can spin, but it's not as good as it used to be. You beat up these Titans, and you fill this little green star bar. Oh, star bar, that's a good name. You fill up this star bar and until all the stars are lit up green, and then you can hijack them. When you hijack these Titans, you gain control of them, use some of their moves. You have like Scorporilla or the Spike or something like that. And essentially that's kind of the whole gameplay loop of this game. That's really all you have. Now you do have these Mojo challenger rooms that test your ability, using these like different challenges, stuff like collect all the green Mojo or defeat all the Titans before the time runs out, stuff like that. Fairly ordinary. I'm not gonna lie, I do all of the Mojo rooms in like episode 1 through 4, but I always just give up. They're really boring to do, and all they really give you is just a trophy and, or I should say a voodoo doll, and I think they might give you, no, actually no, they don't give you concept art. That's a completely different thing. Now the phrase you're gonna hear with this game that always gets associated with it is that it's a great game, but it's not a great Crash game. You know, there's just like, why is it themed around Crash? It kind of just feels like they stuck Crash and the Crash universe in with this game. Like, I feel like this game could be based off of any other character and it would work just as well. But they're like, fuck it, you know, we'll just put Crash because he's popular and everyone will know that. We'll give him a redesign because the gameplay is quite different. Which, speaking of which, I've not even talked about the redesigns of the characters. Let's talk about them actually. Crash looks fairly alright. He doesn't look too bad. I don't mind him personally. He's a lot smaller, but I don't mind it. Coco also, I don't mind. She looks a bit darker, but like not as soft. But it's alright. Crunch as well. Mainly the Crash gang pretty much looks fine for the most part. You know, same with Cortex. I think he looks alright. But then the masks. I don't know what the fuck they did to these masks, but they look horrible. Like Aku's looks really bad. Uka's looks really bad. I hate all of them. They're really not that good. And then what other characters? You got Nina. Nina's isn't too bad. It's pretty faithful to the original. And that's about it. We're not going to talk about Tiny Tigers because his is so fucking bad. I don't even want to talk about how bad his redesign is. So overall, I think the game is good. Again, why it's Crash 3 themed is always going to be strange, but you know, you'll have fun with it if you ever buy it or ever decide to get it. You will still enjoy it even if it is wildly different to the previous installments. Now, going on to Minor Mutant, the story is a little similar. Essentially, Neo Cortex reunites with his old colleague Dr. Embryo, and they invent the NV, which is a virtual reality headset powered by Bad Mojo, and it transforms whoever wears it into a creature, you know, like a ruthless creature essentially. Now, Crash is invulnerable to this because, you know, he's insane, and also Aku because he's a mask. Essentially, this is what the story all resides, and you have to save Crunch and Coco from these masks. And you go through all these different places, like the Wasteland, the Rapsicle Kingdom, the desert, and you know, like Mount Grimley. This game has a lot of backtracking, which it's really shit. But yeah, it has a shit ton of backtracking, and also it's definitely more open. It's not episodic. It's a fully open world. You can go to wherever you want. Obviously, you unlock the places when you progress through the story, but it's all open world. You can go wherever. That's why there's so much backtracking, which it wouldn't be a problem if backtracking through the areas you'd already been through was, you know, it'd be fun. But that's the problem. It isn't. It's not fun. So it's really not that great. The whole beat 'em up aspect is still there. You know, you can still beat up Titans, hijack them. The Titans have a lot more depth with them. You know, having like the Ratskill Kingdom and like the Rhino Roars like family and stuff. It's a little weird, I'm not gonna lie, when you think about it, but it adds more depth to the Titans. The end of the game is essentially you fight Neo Cortex, I think in his space station, I think. You hijack him, space station crashes, everything, you know, Crash saves the day, and everyone's, you know, happy and that. I know that's a real vague summary of the story, but I just don't have time to cover the entire thing like I did with Crash of Titans. So, now this game also has a lot more platforming, forgot to mention. This game is way more platforming based than beat 'em up. Like, that was something that I always thought was so weird. If this game is a beat 'em up, it has so much more platforming. So, this is the conclusion that I've come to. Which one, you know, obviously which one is better? I think they're both equally as good and as bad. You know, they both made improvements, but they both made they really just didn't do a whole lot good. And that's why I feel like if you're more into the beat 'em ups and more, you know, you kind of want more action and stuff like that, I would say Crash of the Titans is the game for you. But if you're more into the platforming and you kind of just want to have a chill experience, because Crash Minor Mutant is a lot more less action. It's way more platforming based. So if you kind of want this just the platforming and none of the, well, I mean, there's still gonna be beat 'em up, but less of the beat 'em up, then I would say definitely Minor Mutant. So there you go. There's my whole little summary of the games. I know I really skimmed through Minor Mutant, but I don't have time. I literally just don't. So yeah, thanks for watching. I know I missed things. You don't have to point it out in the comments. I know there's plenty I missed, but yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the video. I know my commentary is absolute dog shit, but hey, you know, no one's good off in their beginning, are they? So yeah, thanks for watching and goodbye.